Welcome to another episode of ASILIMENI MASWATI. Today we're at the heart of Manzini, a place called Mzimnene, where we have a plant for processing chickens. We're visiting a place that has been around for some years now, Temashinga Poultry Processors. This is a processing plant that is helping small-scale farmers in the country to raise the standard for poultry business. Join us as we talk to the owner of the business, Mr. Oscar Mashwama. Join me as we have a conversation. Mr. Mashwama, thank you very much for welcoming us to your home. We also know that this is not just your home, but this is also a business area where we have Temashinga Poultry Processors, a business that I've known for some time myself as a poultry farmer. I've actually had plenty of services from you over the years. So we are really happy that we could be here and you could welcome us to talk about the story of Temashinga Poultry Processors. But as we are starting to have this conversation, I want us to talk about the man behind Temashinga Poultry Processors. Um, who is Mr. Oscar Mashwama? If you can describe him for me.
Welcome to Temashinga world, and we welcome you for this interview. I would like to start with my background, where I come from. Okay, this is a home that I have that I own myself, and I've been working for a company. I've been in the sugar industry. Yes, I'm actually an ex. I think an ex. Should I put it as Salesian old boy?
Okay.
That left Salesian 1977. From Salesian, I went to Mhlume Sugar Company, where I was accepted as an apprentice. There we were the first group of Swazis that were groomed by the whites at that time, because the factories were still run by the whites.
Yeah.
We were actually called the localizing team. Yes, we were during those days. It was, government going out there to the different schools, look for people with potential for the engineering careers and so on, and try and coerce them that they go into these factories. It was no game, because we left town and had to go into the bushes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where I started, and I went through the ranks, through the levels of education or colleges that I attended, sponsored by the company.
Yeah.
And I eventually completed as an electrical engineer.
Okay.
That was in the late 80s.
All right.
As from the 90s, early 90s, I then had to be appointed to the position of trainee engineer, where I acquired all the hands-on experience and also the managerial aspect of, running factories. I then further went into furthered my studies to a higher level that was done, which I've completed in South Africa, in Durban, where we went to Mangosuthu. That's where, and we also went to the Durban Tech. That's where I then qualified to be senior engineer.
Okay.
I then assumed position up to a position of manager, engineering manager, where I was responsible for running the electrical and instrument department. I also had to go on standby, whereby I could spend maybe the weekend responsible for the factory. During just about early 2000, I then realized that working working for a boss, it's not all, because I should think of my after retirement time. Okay, I had enough land below the homework, as you have been to the place below there.
Yeah.
That's where I then started a poultry rearing plant there. In fact, I had the coops, and I was dealing with live chickens.
Okay.
Early 2000, there was, on the poultry business, there were so many opportunities that were available, and on the live market, it was dominated by most of the big, what you call, farmers. Then I felt I should try and diverse and find ways of maybe adding value to my product.
Okay.
Yes, so that's how I decided to build or establish an abattoir. With my engineering experience, I actually converted my coops into an abattoir. I had to go on the internet, look at whatever designs that were going to suit my the land I had and the infrastructure that I had. And I also went to Joburg, where I went to the suppliers, the poultry equipment suppliers, who then assisted me to develop a manual abattoir, as you have seen, so that I could also provide work for the locals and try and process chicken at a low cost, and so that people who are on poultry business, they could really afford to use the abattoir as well. Okay, I was lucky that in fact the success story there is that I then went further and started looking for contracts. I managed to get a contract with the companies that were providing services to the sugar belt.
Okay.
That's for the rations and some butcheries and so on.
Okay.
Then they provided you know, an opportunity that I could, you know, supply them, you know, the chickens.
Sure.
Okay. So I didn't have chickens by then because the abattoir had been converted. The chicken houses were out. So I was lucky one day. Then an NGO by the name of Africa Works, they came and said, "Hey, we have farmers at Garalamkapi.
Yeah.
We would like to make use or go in partnership with you to utilize your abattoir. We understand that you are still developing your abattoir, and we can support you to, you know, in terms of whatever you want to do in expanding your abattoir."
Okay.
Well, that was just like a gesture to me because, you know, I was not really in a position to, you know, do what I felt this is my standard that I wanted. In fact, the Africa Works is affiliating to a group in England that is also on community development.
All right.
So they then decided to look at my situation and how they could assist me to bring the standard to, you know, the required standard that will maintain the contracts that I had.
Yeah.
Yes. So in a nutshell, that agreement, we made an agreement. I even went abroad. I went to America.
Okay.
I had to go and, you know, present my business plan, and then they sponsored, you know, most of these changes that were and also some of the equipment were also sponsored by them. But I had to pay the loan though.
All right.
Yes. We then had an agreement with the NGO, Africa Works, whereby farmers used to bring chickens. We buy them. They also gave me a capital to buy the chicken.
To buy from the farmers?
Buy from the farmers.
Okay.
Yeah. They had to look at a period that they would just assist me until a time that I was going to be able to handle it myself.
Yeah.
But then everything went fine because the abattoir was fully utilized.
Yeah.
It was upgraded to a 1,500 chickens per day.
Per day.
I've got 2 lines. I think we saw the 2 lines.
Yeah.
We could use the 2 lines and managed to do 1,500 a day.
All right.
We had issues with the refrigeration, the cold chain, because of capacity. So you can kill the chickens fine, but then you need to freeze them.
You need to freeze them, yeah.
Yes. Then we had limitation there.
All right.
We went through an exercise of expanding the capacity, which was also sponsored by the Americans. Okay. I was also supplementing whatever by means of the local banks.
Yeah.
Okay. There's one thing that I have to just go back and mention is that I took an early retirement from work 2014.
Okay.
When I took early retirement 2014, it was due to my medical conditions. I had a condition with my anatomy, that means my bones. Yeah, I was really, the nature of the job in a factory is that you can't sit in an office and pray that the people out there that doing jobs. I used to do a lot of walking.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't have to go up using the elevator, because at each section you need to go and check. So my I always like to check the activities rather than
Assume.
hearsay, because
Yeah.
people used to let you down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he says he's done this, he's done this. The next thing, you go into a meeting, the production side are complaining.
Yeah.
So I then had to be bored of because of my health. 2014, so I was given a medical boarding.
Okay.
Yeah, yes. So I then left employment. My package had to go to Exponent.
Oh.
And if you talk of Exponent, everyone starts opening their eyes.
Oh, sorry.
I would like to tell you that I was the last one to get my money from Exponent 2019. I was lucky because I retired earlier.
Yeah.
2014. Then 14 up to 19, that was 5 years.
Yeah.
That program was very lucrative. I mean, it was too good. Too good. So in 5 years, you double your money.
Okay.
And they also had a policy that you could be paid on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
So that supported me during the period up to 2019, when I got all my money. Then I had to pay the Americans. That's now.
Yeah.
Yes, and this is now my retirement package.
Fully paid.
Fully paid.
Sure.
But I would say losses were on the production.
Okay.
Can I also mention that this poultry business was a bit tricky because of relying on the demand and sometimes payment from government, because I was also supplying the prisons.
Yeah.
And I was supplying all these catering companies and so on. So payment, I'm sorry to mention that from the government, sometimes it just started deteriorating.
Yeah.
And it was taking months. Okay. I then used part of my package to purchase 2 tipper trucks to supplement and try and make the business,
multiple
stable.
streams of income, of course.
Yes, I went to a multiple stream of income, of course.
Yeah.
And in that case, then I was also lucky that I then had my trucks on hire with the road construction. I ended up with the one company that was doing the Manzini to Badlane, the highway.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Both of my trucks were there. Not until 2021 when things, I think it was by the time all the projects were almost getting to an end.
Yeah.
And then I went to another job with another company that was doing work for FCC. And then I ended up in a situation that I got one of the truck got an accident just outside the road to Nhlangano, where unfortunately the police and my driver, they all perished there. The truck and the combi caught fire. And I think you remember the story of 2021, the Osu. Osu, anyway, may their soul rest in peace. Okay.
So bring that again up.
Yeah.
So it's a story.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a long history that
Yes.
you've had in
Yes.
the industry and in business in particular. Yeah.
Well, then 2021, really, it was like Temashinga. It was the end of Temashinga. Yeah, it was the end of Temashinga because now even the supplement, the supplement that I was getting from the trucks, just came to an end. I had to sell it, and also got in trouble with the banks, and I had to lose some of my property and some of the machinery because the business had come to an end. Yes, were not no more liquid. So it's unfortunate that we Swazis, we find we work hard, but unfortunately there's always something that gives the SMEs challenges that they are beyond their control. Just everything goes wrong. So then during the time when I was running the place and everything was running, I used to have farmers that were coming, that were not part of the Temashinga, main business. They were using the facility because they realized an advantage of the location where the abattoir is. Like it's in central Manzini.
It's accessible.
And it's help. They used to come and use the facility. So I then, when I got to a point where everything had gone AY with the machine, I then said to the farmers, please guys, there's nothing I can do now. I'm no more in business. But they encouraged me. They said, please don't close this place. Let's just run it. So I felt I had to look at the whole implication, but I realized that I'm not paying rent, fine. The only thing I pay for is electricity. Yes. So I took time and look at the viability of continuing. So at the moment, I must be honest, I've been always running at a very low tune because it's a pay as you go. It's not something that is making money. And the problem is some people think I'm making money. I'm not making money there. I'm just merely breaking even at times. Because if a 1,500 capacity facility has to process 200 chickens, 300 chickens, I think any sensible person can understand that it's underutilized. It's like buying a bus, and then a bus which is supposed to take 75 people, and say,
take 10 people.
And take 10 people and take them to and convey them to Mbabane. And that's underutilizing the facility. And even if you freeze the chickens, you're using a big refrigeration system that will actually consume the amount of power that it consumes at 1,500
level.
So these were my challenges. And I also like to mention that we are also facing the problem with power. And people bring their chickens here with confidence, and yet sometimes we don't sleep because of power.
Power cuts.
Power cuts and so on. And then we phone the people at night. They're already sleeping, and you don't expect someone who doesn't have even the facility to come and take their chickens at 12 o'clock. But we trying our best to make just to make sure that the system does work. And I think by this interview, maybe someone is going to say, let's help the farmers. This
Yeah.
setup is not for Temashinga, it's set up for the farmers. I don't have chickens.
Yeah. And in fact, I wanted us to now speak about those issues because you've said you've changed the model. There was a time when you were buying
Yes.
the chickens from farmers,
Yes.
but because of changes in the market, you are now just providing a service.
Yes.
Farmer brings their chicken, you slaughter at a fee.
Yes.
How much is the fee, by the way?
Okay, the fee currently we are charging $450 per broiler chicken,
Okay.
and for layers or Makai chickens, it's $550.
Okay.
Okay, but that's excluding freezing.
Freezing. Okay. No, fair enough. So a farmer brings their chickens here. I think for me, you are saying we are operating at a lower level than what we should be operating at to make profit. First question would be, let's start with what went wrong, and then we'll come to then how can we fix it going forward. With the previous model where everything was going well, you're buying and then selling to the market that was available.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I do understand the question. Okay. First thing that went wrong, it's when the NGOs handed over the project to the farmers up there at Lamkap.
Okay.
Yes, they did their job. They did arrange that they have a committee to run, the group of farmers.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it lasted less than 6 months.
Oh.
Because now I started getting small chickens, and the numbers were also going down. The farmers were starting to have their own businesses there. So it's the source of the product. Okay,
yeah.
That's where the problem started, and also it was also on my side was payment.
From your customers.
From my customers.
Yeah.
There were delayed payment, and I was also finding it difficult to
pay the farmers.
In most cases, that was caused because the farmers were standard dropped.
Yeah.
Quality was compromised.
Okay. Sitting here now in 2025, you still have a facility that has a capacity to process 1,500 chickens per day.
Yes.
What, in your view, can be done to bring back the vision? Because I'll speak personally that, as you know, I use your service as a farmer as well. And this is a service that most Swazi farmers need, as I think you've said it yourself, that the people begged you not to shut down because most farmers who are operating at the informal level, I would say, rely on you just to raise the standard of processing. But what, in your view, can be done to make this right, to actually give farmers the opportunity to have something they can rely on in terms of a poultry business? I understand that we do have poultry value chains in the country. The commercial poultry value chains are there. We have Umbuluzi, we have SPP in Matapa, but we don't have a processing value chain for small scale farmers. And this is the only one that I know of. I don't know if there's another one. So my question is, what can be done to make sure that it's fully functional and it's happening?
Okay. That's a good question. In fact, I've spent most of the time trying to come up with a model that will get this value chain sustainable.
Yeah.
I've actually invited people to meetings, and we've tried to form associations and so on.
Yeah.
But it's not working. It's all about the challenges we have here in our country is that some of these things are not, some of the inputs are not what you call, government is not really coming forward with some program that will help, the farmers with some sort of what you call subsidy.
Okay.
Yes, this is very important because, like the feed is very expensive.
Yeah.
For some farmers, and the farmers can't sustain the numbers.
Yeah.
You see, with poultry, if you are going to say 3,000 chickens per cycle,
yeah.
and this weight,
yeah,
that needs to be addressed. We need to form up a system, okay, that is government supported,
yeah,
that will look at the farmers and understand their need.
yeah.
It's not only funds, it's the way
The policies
that must be put in place.
Yeah.
Some of the farmers, they do get funded, but 1, 2, 3 down the line, if it's no more in business because the system is very complicated,
Yeah.
should I say. Yeah. And it doesn't support the
Yeah.
farmer. It makes it difficult for the farmer.
Yeah.
That's why I had to join First Peak. I'm a member of First Peak.
Yes.
And I'm also a member of Sivuno.
All right.
Okay. I've actually understood their concepts.
Yeah.
And I'm just within these two organizations to see how can I get Temashinga back.
Yeah.
They understand I had to, brief them where I come from.
Yeah.
Mentioning my challenges and my dream of what I want.
Okay, so there is a move to get things back to where they were. Yeah. But what can you say about the market? You've said that previously the main challenge was delayed payments. But right now, looking forward, is there a market for a small-scale farmer that we can actually talk about?
I think there's, as long as it's food, there's a lot of market out there.
Okay.
Yes. Because we talk of the companies dominating, but it dominates because we're not trying to dominate.
Yeah.
I think we need to push and get ourselves organized and try and avoid these silos, working in silos. We should come up with a solid thing. That's why Mbuluzi and National Chicks, they form a model that it's win-win to everyone.
Sure.
Yeah. Don't look at yourself. Yeah. So I think with this organization, we are also now, I'm part of the, the executive, what you call committees there.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll contribute in such a way that we come up with some models that will work. We were working on a beef one, which we just busy with Sivuno.
Okay.
Yes, but we still come into the chicken.
All right.
They were happy to see the abattoir, that I've got an abattoir. And
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that one day we come up with something that is going to be solid and it will work and be
Yeah.
beneficial to all farmers.
Great. And thank you. I think it's good to know that something is being done to make sure that the small scale farmer plays a role that is really, for me, I would say, is meaningful in the poultry industry. I think we've said as a country that we are self-sufficient when it comes to poultry. I think we don't export. I mean, we don't import poultry, processed poultry as such. I think we have portions, a few of them that come from the border, but generally we don't import chicken. So it means the country has come to a level where we're doing well. The only challenge we're facing is how we can make sure that the small scale farmer is participating meaningfully. And for me, you are actually at the center of that process happening, being already having invested in a processing plant. So I think now is just to make sure that, as you have said, that farmers are organized, possibly
Yes.
organized around the processing plants that can then create the markets and make sure that we can get from the chick to the feed and help farmers. Government must play a role. I think is also what you're saying, that government must play a role to help these farmers
Yes.
to participate in the value chain meaningfully.
Yeah.
So it's good to know that. I think now for me is to ask possibly from the other side of policy and regulation issues. I think we were here, Tikanvini, this is Swaziland land,
Yes.
right? So what sort of challenges have you faced with regard to the place and licensing it to be an abattoir? Was it that easy? How was that going?
Well, we are the old school, should I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we come from the previous. This place, there was nothing around it.
Yeah.
It's actually amazing if you look at the old pictures
Yeah.
and see what it was and what it is now. This place here was accepted by the by government that I could put up a thing,
Okay.
an abattoir. We went through the environmental impact.
Okay.
It was done, and also I had to acquire a king's consent. It's a king's consent signed by the king.
All right.
Yes. So at the time, commercial Madoda was also involved. Yes, it was easy at that time.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's just that it was my house and the abattoir, and my neighbors were just further up. But now we sort of clusters. In fact, that's why the health department came and said, I must put up a concrete wall. Yes.
All right.
And the policies here, the support from Umphakathi, it's fantastic.
Okay.
Yes. They're happy because, as you see all those ladies in there,
Yeah.
at least they've got hope that tonight their kids are going to have something to
Yeah.
eat when they get paid. I actually paid them daily because
when they
I
work.
don't guarantee that the next day I'll still have someone to come and process.
Yeah.
So they get paid daily, and they're happy. And also I have farmers that also look for a market, and then I said, okay, I'll take your stuff, we'll sell it within Mzimnene. We call it Mzimnene this place. Then I pay for that consignment.
Yeah.
And then we sort of support the farmers to sell their products.
Okay.
And also support the locals to get what you call chicken or chicken inside.
All right.
Whenever they need them, they come and buy here. Really, it's before we used to be so busy that if you see, that used to be a butchery. You still have
So
the
people would
equipment.
walk in and buy
They'll
meat.
walk, yes,
you.
we could even bring in beef, pork,
Yeah.
and so on. Those days,
Okay.
yeah, we used to go to maybe Mbiveni, buy, or maybe buy a cow, get it in the abattoir to they slaughter it for us. We come here, we're trying to support the
Just the local community.
local community.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the solution is farmers, poultry farmers in the country, especially within the vicinity of this plant, possibly to get organized in some kind of value chain agreement with the abattoir. Is that the future that we're looking at?
Yes. Samgati, I must mention that there are signals that came from, Labatsala from the top that there was possible exports,
Okay.
especially Asia, for chickens. Like, they also have, the Indians.
Yeah.
Yes. But then there's a bit of a challenge that how do we process their chickens because of the
halal.
the halal and so on.
Okay.
How are they going to get to India? How many farmers are they going to grow the chickens? We can't just fly an aeroplane with 10 tons. You've got to look at the economics.
The numbers, yeah.
Yeah, the numbers.
Yeah.
So that, like in Sivuno, that already talking about export market.
Okay.
But then, are we going to have enough products? Are the farmers going to have enough chickens? Is the feed that we get enough, and is it up to standard?
Okay.
Yeah, the quality issue. So I really think it's a long story.
Yeah.
It's a long story that needs to be
We need to work on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for now, what would be your message? I think as we are closing, the abattoir is operating at numbers that are not at optimal levels.
Yes.
But still, I'm sure that if farmers are aware of the facility, they could possibly come and maybe the numbers could increase. So what could you say to encourage people to come here? How does it help a farmer that is possibly slaughtering behind their house and trying? How does using and I think that's the question. How does an abattoir help a farmer?
Okay.
Who's doing poultry?
That's a good one. Samgadi, I think farmers, they must understand that the abattoir is theirs to start with.
Yeah.
An abattoir sitting there and me in my house, it's just a white elephant. I don't have chickens.
Yeah.
It's their abattoir. They mustn't come here and said, we're going to process chicken at the machine. They must come with ideas. I'm open.
Okay.
Because let's say I drop dead, none of my kids are interested in chasing chickens or removing feathers from chickens. That thing is going to sit and remain like it. And evident to what had happened, all these abattoirs that government has established, and they never lasted long enough. They just went dead because there's no passion. You need to have passion. I have passion because it's got an engineering aspect, and also I like a plant.
Yeah.
I get what you call satisfaction that I'm running a plant because
Still
if
uses
you
his-
remember,
still
if
uses
you
your skills,
remember, I left school and I was in a plant.
Yeah.
I used to smile when I drive out of Mhlume coming this side or Simunye and see the plant with the smoke
Yeah.
that it's working. I felt like that's my plant.
Sure.
You see,
Sure.
that's why I like a plant. Liking a plant, the farmers must go and exploit me. I will help them.
Sure.
I will help them. It doesn't have to be Temashinga. We can go and establish a plant somewhere, bigger one. I will be helping them. My satisfaction is just to get to see success
Yeah.
in doing processing, maybe processing or construction.
Great.
In this case, this is the only, convenient plant that I could do that can satisfy a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yes, and I have a lot of people coming here, and if I walk in town, hey, Gambule here, because it has made friends, it made what you call business partners
Yes.
through it.
Yeah.
But then, just to be specific to your question, I appeal to the farmers. Let's set up or group up or join Sivuno. Sivuno, we've got a very good what you call management team there.
Okay.
They are trying to integrate all farmers. It's not only poultry. It's
Okay.
doing everything, even the what you call the vegetable growers. You can name it, even the what you call the
Other crops like
trees.
maize.
Yes.
Or even citrus.
Citrus, yes,
Okay.
some things like that.
Okay.
So it's a big spectrum. So you just find a point where you want to fit in that spectrum.
What is Sivuno? Is that a cooperative?
Yes, it's a cooperative.
Oh, okay.
It's very good.
Okay.
And we're supported by FirstPick,
I see.
the Federation of the. I've just joined
Okay.
I'm hardly 4 months, I think.
Great.
It's because I realized that there's still no change. Then I said I must join,
Yeah.
and I was advised that I should join an organization that is
like
fully fledged.
Great. No, good to know that there is some form of organization already that is interested in this space that we are in. Your message to government, I think you've already said that there's an expectation that government could also play a role in making sure that the small-scale farmer is taken care of and they participate meaningfully.
Okay, I think with government, I'm not blaming government. Really, it's got some programs that is available for the farmers and so on.
Yeah.
It's just that this particular situation is looked at as Temashinga, which is an individual project. If that was not the case, I had farmers cooperative there.
Yeah.
I'm sure with the micro project or probably the
RTF, yes.
Yes, RTF. I will actually qualify to get their support. Yes, it's just that one has to bring the farmers.
Yeah, it goes back to the organizing the farmers.
I can't go to the government and say I want a grant or something.
Yeah.
Grant for who?
Exactly. Okay.
Yes, but I certainly need the support.
I know. Thank you very much again, Mr. Mashwama. It's been a brilliant conversation. I've got to learn a lot about you. I thought we were friends, but I think there's some information that I didn't know that I got today. Thank you very much for welcoming us to your house. And we do hope that all the plans, and you began at a very high note, I would say, that things were happening, the market was there, and the farmers were very active. Everyone would wish for that to happen again. So I think I would say we wish you all the best in the efforts with Sivuno, First Peak, that are being tried to make sure that we can revive that. And for us, I think as ASILIMENI Maswati, we really appreciate the opportunity that we've had to talk about the poultry industry, as in particular as it affects or impacts small-scale farmers in this country. We have the pleasure of speaking to one of the pioneers of abattoir business in the country. He's been in the heat and the heart of poultry farming in the country. So we really appreciate that we could feature him in the program, and catch us in the next program. Thank you.